One. Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to the chat with me, Kristi Coleman of Fox 8 News, and it is back to school time. And we have some helpful tips for the parents out there to kind of help ease their children back into school with their routine. We know that summer, we had a lot of fun with summer, and now it's back to business. We're getting back into the classroom. So joining me today is Cassine. He is a licensed clinical social worker, and he has some tips for us today. Thank you so much for joining us, Chase.
Thank you so much for having me, Kristi, to talk about this much needed topic to discuss.
Of course. So it is back to school time, back to homework, and all of our daily routines and after school routines. We know a lot happens during the school year. So having that good mental health is very important to overall wellness. And you've got some tips for us. One of them starting up with having a promoting good sleep hygiene. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, definitely. Promoting good sleep hygiene is important because we need to get much well-needed rest, right? 6 to 7, some say 6 to 8 hours of rest. So our brain and our body can have, adequate sleep to be able to concentrate, have good memory, be able to function. So making sure we're getting that consistent sleep hygiene by going from summer to now getting in a routine of school. So doing
Hmm.
that, definitely.
And so, what do you suggest for parents to do? Kind of get them back into that sleep routine, maybe 30 minutes to an hour earlier?
Definitely, it is where getting into a routine of maybe in summer you can sleep later, whereas there needs to be a cutoff time, maybe, I don't know, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock p.m., where we can begin to limit our social media to reduce some of the screen time,
Yes.
and get some much needed rest to begin to get in that adjustment for school.
Yes, and that's a good one you pointed out. We know the kids have the iPads, the computers, the
Yes.
TVs. We're just all of these screens. We're surrounded by that technology, right? So, what are kind of some ways to kind of help parents, you know, get their kids back into the hey, it's time to focus back on the classwork, and kind of limit that screen time. So, what do you think about that?
Well, I always suggest that one, as parents or even adults who have godchildren or nieces or nephews and things like that, that we have to model the behavior that we want to see. So even though we live in this world where we're all over relying on technology, we constantly have our phones constantly busy, 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 but it's where that we both can make it a partnership where, all right, I'm gonna, if I'm telling you we're gonna cut off getting off on Instagram at this time, I'm also gonna be your partner in this, right? That's where you can get that buy-in from the kids, right? The adolescents, teens, even the little babies. Well, we can
Yes.
do this together and model the behavior that we want to see. And that is good buy-in, as well
Hmm.
as the research has pointed to us that the overuse of screen times is also disruptive to people's mental health, both children and adults alike. So making sure we're having some guidelines, putting some parameters around, and there's different things on these iPhones where you can reduce the screen time. There's notifications to put on your phone, and all of those things are helpful.
I like that. And even I would say even falling asleep with the TV on is no good because the brain is still focusing on that while you're sleeping.
Definitely, definitely. That has been research about leaving the TV on. So creating a very dark um, space in a sense of in the room should only be for sleep, should
Hmm.
only be for sleep. So not really using the phone at the dinner table, not really using the phone in the room, where the room should only be for sleep. And that
Yes.
promotes great sleep hygiene.
I like that. Okay, so we've got promoting great sleep hygiene, limit screen time. What other
Mhm.
tips do you have to kind of help parents ease their kids back into school time?
Definitely, I think creating a designated space within the home strictly for homework and strictly for studying.
Mm.
That designated space can be that space to where, okay, I know if I'm sitting over here at this table, that it's for these two reasons. Because the way our brains work, we'll begin to be adjust. We have to readjust to different things, and we sometimes have a hard time adjusting, which is why back to school mental health is such an important topic to discuss because it's where people are dealing with new transitions to a new school. They're going from elementary to middle to high school. Some
New
people are
grade,
new
yeah,
grades.
like you said,
Yes,
eighth to ninth grade, that can be a
yes.
big adjustment for
That
some.
can, right, as well as for parents that will my child do well at this new school? It's a new school for them. They've been at this other school so long. So creating a space also for parents to discuss those different things, as well as creating a space to foster open and honest communication, as well as a space strictly for studying, no on the phone unless it's for you using a calculator or something, Google something like that or whatever. But creating those different spaces and communication, physical spaces, as well as I would call it an emotional space to even talk about how is school going
I
today?
like that.
How was it? Tell me the best parts of your day. Using those open-ended questions that also creates a space where, okay, I can feel comfortable talking about these things to my parent about the best parts of my day. What did anything make you upset at school? And talking about it.
Having
And
that open line of communication between the
yes,
parents and the child. I like that. What
yes.
other tips can you give for us to kind of help get parents with this new school
Ah,
year? Anything else you've got on the
yes,
list?
I definitely have something else. Mindfulness. Mindfulness is all the rage and you see it a lot in pop culture. People are talking about it. It's a therapeutic practice that's old as time. It's basically about centering and grounding yourself in a sense of anxiety is a part of the human condition to where we have to normalize that anxiety can sometimes be a good thing and that
Hmm.
it's normal to have, but it forces you to focus on what's going on, centering yourself. The use of affirmations is very big. That's a really great one to do. Another therapeutic practice as well as meditation. So those are mhm,
Love
mhm.
meditation, even listening to Zen music. May
Yes,
want to try that out with
yes,
the kids.
yes,
Some great
yes,
tips. Great
yes,
tips.
yes,
Okay, so
yes.
if parents want to learn more, get some more information out there, where can they go to get all this good information?
There's definitely resources available. So there's Thrive NOLA here in New Orleans is a great resource, as well as Child Mind Institute.
Perfect. Thank you so much, licensed clinical social worker Chase Cassine, on some tips you can keep in mind, parents, when easing your kids back into school.
Yes,
Thank you
yes,
so
yes.
much. Thank you so much for joining us and have a great weekend.